Deep in the Olympic Mountains, winter creates a masterpiece of raw beauty and quiet strength. The towering peaks rise like ageless guardians, their snow-covered spires piercing through the veils of mist and low-hanging clouds. These mountains, etched with the stories of ice and time, stand immovable, a striking contrast to the fleeting moments of those who journey through their shadow. What is it about such places that stir something deep within us? Is it their grandeur, their stillness, or in the way they make us question our own place in the world? Beneath their imposing presence, I can't help but wonder, what draws us to the wild? To these landscapes that both humble and inspire? Perhaps it's not the destination itself, but what we discover along the way. The trail winds through a forest alive with history. Moss drapes over ancient trees, their branches outstretched like the arms of giants, and the damp earth beneath my boots tells stories of storms past. The air bites with the sharpness of winter, crisp and invigorating. This weekend, Artemis and I came searching for something, though what that is, I wasn't entirely sure. The peaks above, looming yet watchful, seem to urge us onward, as if guarding secrets meant only for those willing to earn them. Their silhouettes rise like monuments to time itself, their jagged forms etched against the sky, as if daring you to measure your strength against their permanence. In their shadow, you can't help but feel the quiet challenge they pose. To step forward is to confront not just the wilderness, but the edges of your own resolve. Along the trail, occasional waterfalls tumble down the cliffs, their ceaseless descent echoing the quiet perseverance of time itself, carving the unyielding stone, drop by drop, in a testament to nature's patient power. With the tent set up, I turned my attention to the fire. The damp wood initially fought against the flame, but persistence won out, and soon the warmth of the fire pushed back the encroaching cold. The campsite is luckily tucked beneath towering trees, their thick trunks shielding us from the chilling winds. There's a method to setting up camp, a series of motions that blends urgency and care. As evening deepened, the light softened into dusk, draping the landscape in a veil of quiet mystery. The once bold peaks, now blurred, their sharp edges dissolving into the misty twilight, as if retreating into their own solitude. Artemis eventually curled up into the tent, her energy spent from the day's adventures, while I remained outside, transfixed by the fire's slow dance. Around me, the forest seemed to hold its breath, the towering trees standing watch in reverent silence, their presence grounding, yet otherworldly. The lake shimmered faintly, its surface a perfect mirror for the early stars that pierced the darkening sky. The crackle of the fire was the only sound that broke the stillness, a small and fleeting defense against the vast, eternal quiet of the wilderness. The flames flickered and cast shadows that seemed to move in rhythm with my thoughts, stirring a question as old as the peaks themselves. What is it we find in solitude? Is it understanding? A fleeting glimpse of some deeper truth? Or simply a rare chance to pause and let the weight of the world dissolve into stillness? In that moment, surrounded by the ancient and eternal, I couldn't help but wonder, is solitude not a destination, but a dialogue? A quiet exchange between ourselves and the wild, where every flicker of the fire and every breath of cold air invites us to rediscover what it means to simply be? The morning arrived softly, the the forest subdued beneath a pale gray sky. Snowflakes floated lazily through the air, their presence delicate yet persistent. I lingered for a moment, taking in the beauty of the waking woods, where even the smallest details seemed to be alive with a quiet magic. Artemis, of course, darted through the campsite, her youthful energy unshaken by the chill. Eventually, I tried my hand at fishing, hoping the lake might offer some reward for the effort to get here. Its glassy surface seemed to promise hidden treasures, but cast after cast brought nothing but the chill of the water. Artemis watched, tilting her head in what I could only interpret as silent judgment, as if asking, "Is this really how it's done?" Sometimes, nature humbles you, not with storms or obstacles, but with quiet indifference. Want me to help you? And of course, not everything went as planned either. Sometime in the night, my inflatable mattress decided to give up on me, slowly deflating until the cold ground made itself known. Half the night was spent re-inflating it, while the other half was a battle against a stubborn headache. To top it off, Artemis managed to knock over my drink, soaking part of the tent. The forest may feel timeless, but even here, small inconveniences remind you of your own humanity. I did it to myself. The towering trees surrounding the lake stand as a world unto themselves. Ancient sentinels, wrapped in moss and lichen. Their immense trunks rise like cathedral pillars, their roots twisting and intertwining beneath the forest floor, forming a foundation that has endured for countless centuries. Were some of these trees merely seedlings when our ancestors first walked the earth? What storms have they weathered? And what stories might they tell, if only they could speak? Each scar etched into their bark is a testament to their resilience, a reminder of the countless winters, windstorms, and fires they've survived. The air beneath their canopy feels different, thicker, almost sacred. Does it hold the weight of centuries? Or perhaps the whispers of a history too profound to put into words? Sunlight filters through the dense branches above in fractured beams, casting shifting patterns of light and shadow onto the forest floor. The moss, draping from the limbs like ancient garbs, softening the sharp edges of time, and the lichen cling to the bark with quiet resolve. Are these small, steady growths symbols of endurance, thriving where little else could? There is a sense of permanence here that is both humbling and comforting. These trees, steadfast and unyielding, have stood through the rise and fall of civilizations, their quiet strength a counterbalance to the fleeting nature of human life. In their presence, is it possible not to feel small, yet somehow connected to something infinitely larger? Eventually, it was time to leave. The campsite was packed, the fire extinguished, and the weight of the journey shifted onto my shoulders once more. The trail leading out felt different, as it always does. The mountains that had loomed so large on the way in now felt familiar, their presence less intimidating, more like old companions. As I made my way down the trail, the peaks began to recede, their silent watch giving way to the murmurs of the forest. Yet, they lingered in my thoughts, their questions echoing softly. What draws us to these wild places? What compels us to return again and again? In these moments of struggle and wonder, where the world feels both vast and intimate, we find a space to reflect on what truly matters. It isn't about conquering the summit or reeling in a perfect catch. It's about being present in the experience. The cold nights, the quiet firelight, the boundless curiosity, of a loyal companion. They become the answers, not in their resolution, but in their existence. These wild places don't offer conclusions. Instead, they leave you with a sense of becoming, of being a part of something larger, yet incomplete. The mountains call us not to solve their mysteries, but to embrace the act of questioning. And in doing so, we find clarity, not in what we know, but in what we seek to understand. As I reached the edge of the forest, the weight of the journey shifted, not as a burden lifted, but as a gift left behind. In the shadow of giants, the lake, the peaks, and the path through the woods don't offer answers outright. They simply remind us that the questions are enough. It is in their silent presence, in the quiet act of wondering, that we find what we came searching for. Not solutions, but a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world.